and oh my goodness, this is the biggest heap of junk I've ever flown on.
I have no idea what's going on.
I hope this is going to Dar es Salaam. No one's checked my boarding pass already.
Now, smaller airlines here in Africa can be tremendously difficult to find any information about on the internet. Several issues here. Flight radar doesn't pick up most of the airlines that operate here, most of the smaller ones at least, so you'll never see any of their aircraft on there. You could look at Wikipedia for the airlines. That's often years out of date with no information whatsoever about what they're doing these days. And even their airline's own websites can be notoriously out of date with no information on about what aircraft they're operating, what routes they're doing or anything like that. The only way really to find that information out is to come here and have a look at the airport and see what aircraft are flying in and out and make a decision from there. That's exactly what I'm doing today. Today we're heading on a little adventure to check out this airline, see what aircraft we end up on and just what it's like to fly on a mystery airline. Now, I got a lot of questions last time about the COVID situation here in Tanzania. Now, officially, there's been no COVID cases here since May 2020, when the president sent samples from a goat and a papaya fruit to be tested and they came back positive. Since then, there's been no lockdowns, no mask requirements. In fact, you rarely see anybody wearing one, and dare I say it, but life here actually feels pretty normal. So I'm flying today with a company called Flightlink, and they seem to have a mix of some quite rare aircraft. I saw a Beech 1900 here, which is pretty rare. There's not many of those left, and I've also seen an Embraer 120, so it's going to be interesting to see what they operate. Good morning. Hello. Hi, checking in for Arusha, please.
Arusha.
Yeah. Yes, how are you? Good. What aircraft are we flying today? Do you know?
Just the small craft.
Small one, yeah. Is it Beech or Embraer? Don't know.
That's small, very small.
Is it possible to get a window, please?
Yeah, I usually sit when you get into the aircraft.
Oh, okay. Free seating, yeah?
Free
Sit wherever, yeah? Okay. No problem, thank you.
Do you have a gift for us?
I'm sorry?
A gift for us?
I have a gift for you.
Hey, Mr.
Hey, I have a gift for you?
Yeah,
I can get you a gift, yeah. After a few minutes, I successfully received my boarding pass, albeit in exchange for a gift of a Noel Phillips sticker. Time to head through to departures then. So airside at Dar es Salaam's domestic terminal. Still no clue what sort of aircraft I'm going to be flying on today. I asked the guy at check-in and his answer was a small one. So read into that what you will, it could be anything. So we're not going to find out, I don't think, until we get to the plane. And there's no seat allocation, so I can't even get a clue from the seat that I've been allocated because it's just free seating on board. So we'll see when we get there as to what sort of aircraft we're going to get. The flight today heads across, I think, to Zanzibar first and then up to Arusha in the sort of north Tanzania. So a little multi-legged flight, as they like to do in this part of the world. So we're going to get on board then in a few minutes, hopefully, and see just what aircraft we're going to get today for our ride up north. It was soon time to get on board, where else but from the magical gate number 5.
Is now ready for boarding through gate number 5. We wish all passengers a very pleasant flight.
Thank you.
What there?
Yes. Boarding was of course via a bus today out to a remote stand, so I headed down the steps and out to a bus that would take me across the airport. After a ride right across Dar es Salaam airport, we finally pulled up next to an old Embraer 120. So here it is then, the mysterious airline Flightlink, who somehow seem to have borrowed the logo of an old British bus company from the 1990s. I mean, surely just a coincidence, right? Either way, time to get on board, and boy was I in for a treat with this one. Hi, good morning. So now is the part where I normally tell you the history of the aircraft. However, In this case it wasn't that easy. See, the aircraft doesn't appear anywhere on the internet at all, not even on the Tanzanian aircraft register. I ended up taking a photo of the plate inside the door, and I found that this aircraft was actually flying for a regional airline in the Congo, where it's been for a number of years. I've no idea when and how it made its way across Africa to Tanzania, but either way it seems it's now flying for Flightlink Airlines. In any case, it doesn't appear to have had a single piece of TLC applied to it since it was first delivered in 1989. First hop today then was the short hop over to Zanzibar, and yeah, I forgot to set my flight tracker going. It was a 13-minute flight though, cruising at some sort of altitude, I don't know. So let's have a look then around the wonderfully rustic Embraer 120.
So then first leg then today, a short hop across to Zanzibar, and oh my goodness, this is the biggest heap of junk I've ever flown on. Let me show you. So down here we have the seat back pocket, which is just any safety card that was in there is long gone, so there's no safety cards. There's not even one on the other side, so seat at the side of me. Conveniently just pops off like that. Oh, this is the biggest heap of junk I've ever flown on. But it's an Embraer 120 and it's the first one I've ever been on, so small wins and all that. There's a panel missing to the flight deck door, which is pretty handy for me because I can see the pilots. I can see the flight deck, or part of it at least. Such a lovely little plane this is, the Embraer 120. You can't beat that view though. Like, even the phone that the flight attendant uses to talk to the passengers is patched up with parcel tape. I mean, even the phone.
After a few more minutes we started our descent for our first stop today, the island of Zanzibar, where it would seem my relatively empty flight would soon get a lot busier. We pulled on a stand next to a Boeing 767 holiday flight that had just arrived in from Moscow.
So on the ground in Zanzibar we've got about 20 minutes here. Leg 1 done, 3 to go with Flightlink on this wonderful piece of architecture from the late 19th century, I believe.
The cabin filled with steam as I enjoyed a bit of peace and quiet from the ear-shattering noise of the Embraer 120 engines. We didn't have long to wait though before the Moscow flight next to us disembarked into our aircraft and started a little game of how many Russians can you fit in an Embraer 120. The only question I now had was who would be the poor sod ending up on the broken seat next to me.
Our estimated flight to Russia will be 1 hour, cruising at 18,000 feet above the sea level. The Captain Command brief Captain Ramadan indications on how to use the exit of the mask and vibration devices. We remind you that your electronic devices will not be permitted.
next leg today then took us northwest from Zanzibar direct to Arusha. Flight time for this leg was 59 minutes, cruising at 20,000 feet. So we got invaded by Russians down on the ground in Zanzibar. The aircraft is now 100% full. Very busy flight now, everybody, I presume off that Azure Air 767 that was on the ground there at Zanzibar, heading up to Arusha. Arusha, of course, is the gateway to the Serengeti for safaris and stuff, so it's no surprise that there's a lot of tourists coming into Zanzibar and then heading up to Arusha to go off and spot some animals up there in the Serengeti. We've got about an hour now to run on the world's most battered aeroplane up to Arusha in northern Tanzania. After a couple of weeks in Africa, today was the day I finally got to see Mount Kilimanjaro, rising like Olympus above the... Oh, hang on a minute, I've already done that joke, haven't I? In any case, that meant only one thing. It was time to start our descent down into the city of Arusha. Somehow I turned into David Bailey for the landing, filming not only with my own camera, but for the Russian guy next to me as well.
You can email me and I will send you through the photos, yeah? Okay.
Still, he very kindly slipped me some Russian chocolates as I got off the plane. What a lovely guy.
And this is for Russia for you.
Ah, great, thank you. From St. Petersburg, yeah?
From St. Petersburg.
Awesome. Have a good day, thank you very much. Bye-bye. Thank you.
After disembarking, it was time to queue behind the passengers having their ride photos taken in front of the plane. Presumably even the Russians haven't seen a plane this old for quite some time. Needless to say, it was quite clear that ramp photography was perfectly fine here, so I jumped at the opportunity to grab a few shots of the plane myself. You can literally walk anywhere on the apron at Arusha without being stopped, so it was great to have the freedom to take a few photos of the plane. Photo shoot complete, I headed into the terminal where I'd have to figure out what I was going to do for a few hours before my flight back to Dar es Salaam.
So here then in Arusha, after arriving on the Rusky Express as it turned out, even got myself some little Russian sweeties from the nice Russian chap at the side of me, heading up from Zanzibar. Yeah, that was an interesting experience, wasn't it, on the Flightlink Embraer. From down there in Dar es Salaam.
Time for the check-in, okay?
As I had a few hours until my flight back to Dar, one of the airport workers arranged for a taxi to take me for a quick tour of the bright lights of Arusha.
Jumbo.
Jumbo, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm fine. You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm Msangi.
Hi, I'm Noel. So how is life in Arusha?
It's good.
Life is good, yeah?
It's good.
Ah, good.
And the weather is
Weather
good.
is good, yes, not too hot, yeah. It's like England, very nice.
First stop on my tour of Arusha today was the Natural History Museum of Tanzania, which didn't quite seem to live up to its rather grand title. Here, for the modest sum of £7, you get to look at a few photos that you could probably find on the internet.
And this exhibit is what is known as the Lesser Spotted Twig.
Next up on the tour today was the nightmare of every single introverted Brit abroad, the tourist market. They hadn't seen a tourist in days here and they were hungry for a sale. Still, I stood my ground and resolved to escape with my wallet just as intact
Very
as when I
nice.
started.
For cheap here?
Yeah, very cheap. Can I show you?
I think I'm good. So thank you. Very nice.
Why you don't need to see?
Oh, I'm good.
Not
I
much
just walk
to
around
find
and have a
that.
look.
Even this side.
Yeah.
I was not going to
This
give in.
fine.
I wasn't going to buy anything, but I think I fit in. £30 lighter, but now rocking it like an absolute boss, it was time to head back to the airport. Still, at least I had a chatty cab driver to keep me company. So usually you have a lot of tourists in Arusha?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a bit hard lately, I guess. I don't think that Bold and Bankrupt has to worry about anyone matching his skills chatting to locals just yet.
Okay, you.
Thank you for showing me around. Well, here we are then, back at Arusha. Fitting in like a local. Let's get the flight then back to Dar es Salaam and let's see what aircraft we get on the return leg. I wonder if it's going to be that same thing that we came over on this morning. I don't know, but let's go and find out. Hello sir, how are you?
Fine.
Good, thank you very much. Hello. Hi, check in please. Arusha Airport's pretty different to anywhere I've flown through before. It's all in the open air with just a few shops and cafes, feeling more like an outdoor shopping mall than an airport. Hello, how are you? Good, thank you. Let's have chicken and fries, please. Chicken with fries, yeah, and a Coke as well, please. Alright, thank you. DIY Nando's coming. Have the chicken, chili. That's good chicken. So the departure lounge here is just as rustic as the rest of the airport, but it's lovely because we're kind of all open, and then you can see over there, there's the apron. It's all quite nice. You sit out here, great view of the planes waiting to depart. And it looks like we might just have as a Beech 1900 for the flight home. Talk about getting two nice planes in one go. And the guy earlier mentioned that we might be having a Beech 1900, so fingers crossed. It soon turned out the Beech 1900 was somehow even more broken than the Embraer 120, so it was back onto the Embraer for the ride back down to Dar es Salaam. Are we on the Beech 1900?
Yeah?
Are we on the beach?
No, not on the beach, on the Embraer.
On the Embraer?
The beach can't operate right now, it's unserviceable.
Ah, okay. Thank you, sir. You have a good day. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Hello again. How are you?
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks. So back on the Embraer again because the beach is broken. So we're back on the same plane that we came over here this morning on. Boo. It would turn out that this would be my final sector on this aircraft today, as once we got to Zanzibar, things turned even more interesting. So no safety demo today, presumably, because I had one earlier. We don't get two in one day. Can't give away more than one, surely. The next, and as it would turn out, the final flight on this plane today was down to Zanzibar. Flight time today was 1 hour and 26 minutes, cruising at 19,000 feet. So back on the way then down to Dar es Salaam, just like on the way up, we've got to stop first though in Zanzibar. So we've got about an hour to run to Zanzibar and then about another 20 minutes on the ground before a 10-15 minute flight back across to Dar es Salaam. I'm going to sit on this side on the way back because it's a row of one. We'll try and sit on the other side, it's just as uncomfortable and the seat's just as broken and knackered as it was on the other side, but hey, it's still on an Embraer 120 and it's still pretty cool. are noisy. I can't even hear myself talking when I'm talking to you. That's how loud this plane is, so I'm hoping that you can actually hear it. That's why I've moved my microphone right up here. I can't hear what I'm actually saying. It could sound like anything. It's probably the noisiest turboprop that I've ever been on. It's so rattly as well, like the seats are vibrating and everything. It's just crazy. But awesome fun. So we'd landed once again at Zanzibar. Surely this day couldn't get any more interesting now, could it? So then on the ground here in Zanzibar, 20 minutes or so here again until we head back across to Dar es Salaam. And oh look, here comes the rain down in Africa. So rather worryingly, the crew have all just got off, and I'm just kind of here with a few ground crew. All the pilots and everything, the cabin crew have all just walked off with all their bags and everything, so I don't know what's going on. Another 20 minutes later and things started to get exciting once more. We're going to another plane. I have no idea what's going on.
Can you show the bag?
I don't have one in there, no. It's just hand baggage only.
Only hand
Just hand baggage, yeah.
Okay.
Well, to this 208, yeah? To the 208? Yeah. Okay, we're saying goodbye to the Embraer for some reason and heading across to Cessna 208. So this one, yeah?
Yeah, this one.
Alright, thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Hey! Namshukuru yule pale mmoja.
Wangapi kaingiza?
Watatu.
Watatu.
I hope this is going to Dar es Salaam. No one's checked my boarding pass or anything. I have to admit I was pretty worried at this point. I'd just been grabbed off a plane and bungled onto another random aircraft, which to be honest could have been going anywhere as nobody had checked my boarding pass. I just crossed my fingers and hoped it was going somewhere vaguely close to Dar es Salaam. After around 20 minutes we started an approach to what looked like a major airport, and from a distance it did seem to resemble Dar es Salaam. It soon became clear that it was indeed Dar es Salaam Airport, and I was back on the mainland, albeit on the opposite side of the airport to where I needed to be. This airline uses a completely different terminal to Flightlink, which is around 3 miles from the main airport complex. I did feel quite sorry for any other passengers who should have been connecting onwards and instead now had to get a taxi across to the correct terminal.
Welcome to Dar es Salaam. Thank you for having consideration. Please remain seated until the back door is open. Have a good weekend, guys. Thank you.
As I got off the plane, I noticed the crew of the original flight were also on this one. I just wish one of them had bothered to tell me before they got off the original plane.
Jumbo, hi.
So we appear to have been dropped off at the Coastal Aviation Terminal here at Dar es Salaam, which is miles away from the rest of the airport. So for me, it's alright, I'm just going to grab an Uber or something, hopefully, unless he doesn't turn up. But for the passengers who were kind of needed to get to the main terminal, where they should have been going, they've all kind of been deposited on the opposite side of the airport. So I'm going to try and get an Uber now across there. But it's an interesting little terminal, this one. The little charter terminal here. So let's wait to see if I can get my Uber. For the first time since arriving in Tanzania, an Uber I'd booked actually turned up, and around an hour later I was back in my hotel room in central Dar es Salaam.
Oh, not this again. There we go.
Right, back. Oh. In Dar es Salaam, that was a fun adventure, wasn't it? Over to Arusha and back with Flightlink on that really old plane. I've no idea what happened at Zanzibar, but they ended up, of course, putting us on that other plane. Just utter chaos, and I'm still panicking, thinking I might have left something on the plane. I need to check because we left so quickly, but never mind. So here back in Dar es Salaam after an interesting day. An interesting day heading over to Arusha with Flightlink. It was nice to fly on an Embraer 120, I will say that. I won't be rushing to do it again, but it's another one ticked off in my book anyway. Let me know what you thought to this down in the comments below. What did you think to Flightlink? And if you had the choice of flying on the Embraer 120 or the Beech 1900 that we didn't get to ride on in the end, what would you fly on? Let me know down in the comments below. In the meantime, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. More videos coming out of Africa over the next few weeks, so looking forward to sharing them with you, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm off for a lie down. Bye bye.